is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I wanted to talk to you about what it takes to really level up and the mindsets that you need to create in order to become the type of person who can maintain and sustain healthy relationships. You know, nowadays there's a lot of content on here on TikTok, on Instagram, on social media in general about women leveling up and hypergamy and entering into this femininity journey. And to some extent, I think that that is great. A lot of us, because of how society is, like we just weren't taught what it means to be feminine. There's a lot of pushing women to be, oh, you can do everything a man can do, and you should be like men. And yes, I agree that as a woman, I can do everything a man can do, but there's something special about me as a woman and about my femininity, and I want to embrace that. So, on the other hand, we also have these women who call themselves femininity coaches, and they're pushing being girly. They're pushing being not who you actually are. They're pushing changing yourself to please someone else or centering men. And if you are a heterosexual woman, there's nothing wrong with desiring to be in a relationship with a man. There is, however, a problem with making it so much more about the other person that you lose yourself in the process, that you don't focus on what it is that would make you happy, that you don't focus on your own needs in a relationship. So, I want to talk to you about 5 mindset shifts that you need to make in order to properly level up and attract a healthy relationship. Anyone else feeling a bit of a pandemic hangover? We're getting back into our routines after 2 years of being thrown for a loop, but things still don't feel quite normal yet. And if you're listening to me, you're serious about having great relationships after a long period of not being able to meet people in person. Therapy has helped me so much with navigating this new normal. And that's why I'm celebrating Mental Health Awareness Month by partnering with BetterHelp, who, by the way, is the sponsor of this episode. BetterHelp is an online platform that allows you to easily match with a therapist in your area who understands your background and life situation. I've used BetterHelp myself, and I love how easy it is to use. So I'd love for you to try it as well. Head to the link in the show notes for 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. Now, let's get back to the episode. So, number 1 is that like attracts like. When you are in this process of attracting the relationship that you want to be in, it's important that you take a hard look at yourself first. If you say that you want someone who is passionate about life, you want someone who's deeply into their spirituality, you want someone who's financially stable, then are you those things that you are asking for? If you want to be with someone who works hard and who is ambitious, they're not going to want to be with someone who is lazy. So you need to also work hard and be ambitious yourself and have your own goals. When you say that you want to be in a relationship that has open communication, are you working on your own communication skills? So are you practicing setting boundaries with other people, not just your romantic partners, but your friends, on your job, with your family members? Are you practicing being vulnerable with others? Because if you want your partner to be openly communicating with you, then you need to be adept at communicating yourself, especially if you're with a partner who is not used to being an open communicator. Maybe they grew up in a family where that wasn't encouraged, where people were encouraged to hide their feelings and never cry and never show emotions. You're especially going to have to go first in that situation. You're going to have to be the type of person that you open up, you communicate, and show them that you can be a safe space for them to do so as well. You know, it's difficult oftentimes to become that safe space, especially when you've been in situations where, you're changing your circle, you're doing things differently now, you're becoming more focused and changing your environment. But it's important that you make your needs known, that that you make your boundaries known, and also that you learn to accept that sometimes you grow and the other person doesn't come along. And if that's the case, then you also have to be willing to do whatever it takes to protect your peace. And that may mean letting go. That may mean spending less time together and giving them the chance to come along in this journey with you. But knowing that if they can't do that, knowing if they won't do that, if they're not ready, then you may have to leave them where they are. So, first of all, like attracts like. And second, the other mindset shift you need to make is it's not about who you attract, it's what you tolerate. You know, I hear people say all the time, well, you are attracting losers. You are attracting people who aren't available, all this stuff because you yourself are not available. And to some extent, yes, but in general, to be honest, there are people who look at dating like a numbers game, which means they are going to reach out to anyone. They are going to ask out everyone because if you ask enough people out, you'll get a yes, right? So it's not necessarily that, you attract all these people who aren't great for you because there's a lot wrong with you. If you're a good person, if you're attractive, if you have a lot going for you in life, you're going to attract all kinds of people. It's a matter of what you tolerate. So it's not about attracting these people, it is about whether or not you allow these people to stay in your life. It's about once you start seeing red flags, once you set boundaries and people don't respect them, whether or not you are continuing to put up with that. Now, if that's the case, where you are continuing to put up with someone who's emotionally unavailable, you are continuing to put up with someone who doesn't love you the way that you need to be loved, you are continuing to put up with someone who doesn't respect your boundaries, then yes, you definitely need to take a look at, your own patterns, your own self-esteem, how you value yourself, and ask yourself, why is it that you're allowing yourself to stay in that situation? Why are you tolerating people who continually show you that they are not good for you, who show you that they can't or won't love you in the way that you need to be loved? That's the second mindset shift that you need to make. The third mindset shift that you need to make is all this talk about feminine energy and masculine energy, and, for women, how to be more feminine. We have both. Feminine and masculine energy are not a gender thing per se. Men have masculine energy and they have feminine energy. Women have masculine energy and they have feminine energy. Now, yes, it's a matter of proportion, but it's important that you remember that both of these energies are important within you. So if you're a woman, getting rid of your masculine energy should not be happening. It is understanding that there's a place for each one. Masculine energy is always a container for the feminine energy. So in heterosexual relationships, a lot of times what that means is, the masculine person takes on the role of protector and provider. The feminine energy takes on the role of nurture. Within yourself, though, so I talk to my clients a lot about discernment, and I fully believe that women's intuition is a thing. That's feminine energy. At the same time, masculine energy is logic. Once you have those hunches, once you have that intuition, that discernment is knowing what action to take afterwards. So you see these two energies go together. And it's important that you keep in mind that they go together. Feminine energy is marked by creativity. Masculine energy is taking that creativity and putting it into action, starting a project, or coming up with ideas to get yourself promoted at work. It's important that you remember that these two energies go together. The fourth mindset shift that I want you to make, if I was going to say if you're a woman, but also again remember men have feminine energy too. So because men also have feminine energy as well, you have to remember this. Feminine energy is not girly. One of my knocks on a lot of femininity coaches that you see on TikTok is this constant like, oh, you have to do your hair like this, you have to dress like this, you have to wear dresses and skirts all the time. And if these things make you feel better, then I say go for it. But what feminine energy is flow, creativity, ease, nurture. So, doing those things is what enhances your feminine energy. Feminine energy is emotional intelligence. So, again, back to men having feminine energy as well. If you are a man or if you're a woman in a relationship with a man, discouraging his feminine energy is the worst thing that you can do, because that's where emotional intelligence comes from. It's understanding that, again, both these energies are important within both of us. And, again, recognizing this whole idea of being feminine means that you have to be girly. Like, I know women who are girly and they are also manipulative and they are controlling. There's nothing feminine about that. Feminine energy is about authenticity, being able to express yourself well. The fifth point that I want to make about your level up journey and embracing feminine energy is that feminine energy is curious. Feminine energy is willing to ask and be patient. So, a lot of times I see dating advice that involves trying to manipulate people into behaving the way that you want them to behave, trying to manipulate people into moving the relationship forward, into, answering things the way that you want them answered, into committing before they may be ready. So when it comes to this, feminine energy, again, is about curiosity. And this means that when you are in the dating process, you don't want to force anything. If you are looking for a committed relationship, that is your intention, and the person that you're with does not want that, that doesn't make them a bad person. It just means they're not a fit for you. But you can accept that they're a fit for you, or that they're not a fit for you, without denigrating them, without putting them down. You can just move on. It also means that when you are getting to know someone, coming into that environment, staying present and being willing to ask questions and get curious. We were talking earlier about how to have open communication with someone. Oftentimes, we can be in a relationship with someone and they will do things that we don't agree with. They will do things that we don't understand. It is tempting to get mad at this person. It is tempted to be frustrated with this person and to say, okay, like they just don't get it, or how could they be acting so stupid? Things like that. What I would like you to do instead is to take that time to get curious. Someone says something you don't agree with. You are in a relationship with someone and this person is not behaving in a way that you think is appropriate. And just to be clear, I'm not talking about someone who's straight up abusive or cheating or anything like that. I'm just talking about things like you generally don't like. When those situations come up, instead of getting angry, instead of letting your emotions get the best of you, I would challenge you to pause, take a breath, and ask them, why is that? Or, I feel like as I'm getting older, I don't want to party as much as I used to. And I feel like you're still in that mode. why do you feel the need to go out so often? Why do you feel the need to stay out so late? Why is it that, you're not spending more time focusing on, career and things like that? Ask the questions and get curious. There are times where you can be in a relationship with someone, you disagree, and because you're willing to ask those questions, that person will open up to you. That person will give you explanations that you can understand, that help you better understand them. And the two of you can find ways to compromise in the relationship. There are other times that because you're willing to actually ask these questions, you can see that this person is not going to be the right fit for you in a relationship going forward. And you can leave with those answers, and you can also leave in peace. One of the things that I always tell my clients is that before they meet Mr. Right, most of my clients are female and heterosexual. So before they meet Mr. Right, they're going to meet a lot of Mr. Right Nows. And what I mean by that is you're going to meet people who have some of the things that you want in a relationship, but they're not quite fits. And it's being patient with this process and understanding that, hey, like, just because this person isn't the right fit doesn't mean that there isn't someone who is the right fit for me. And it also doesn't make them a bad person. It is what it is. You just move on and you find the person who is the right fit for you. You move closer to that. So understanding these things, having the ability to be curious and stay present will make this whole prospect of finding the right relationship for you so much less stressful. And, that's what we want. Dating is about data collection. It's simply gathering enough information to find out whether or not this person is right to be in a relationship with you. And not taking that so personally will get you a long way in being able to find your right partner. Hey there. So you made it all the way to the end of the episode, which means I have two things to say. One, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And two, you like me. You really like me. So I would appreciate it if you would show that like by subscribing to this podcast so that more people can hear about it and enjoy it as much as you do. And if you want to know more about any of the links that I mentioned on this episode or any guests that I've had, be sure to go to KeishaRice.com/links. That's KESHIARICE.com/links. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. So see you then.